What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we're talking the brand new Star... We're doing a little retro review for Star Wars Rogue One. I'm sorry, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. For some reason, we just wanted to watch it. I don't really know why. But before we get into all of that fun, Dave, Doug, how's it going, gentlemen?
Well, Keith, I am fan-freaking-tastic. And yes, it was a pleasure to watch Andor Season 2.1. And how it just, and I think we noted before we went on, there was no after-credit scene because the after-credit scene is this whole other movie. And I think I'm going right into that right after we get off here tonight. I just can't stop myself. Look what Andor did. It rejuvenated. Not that I don't ever sit here and want to watch Star Wars, but now I have to watch it.
Did you guys see that Rogue One was the #1 movie on Disney Plus?
Yes, I did see that. So everyone's having the same thoughts. We are, that's great. And I lost my train of thought. Doug, how are you doing tonight?
Well, Dave, let me tell you, I am beyond outstanding. I've been looking forward to us being able to do this again because, Andor was fantastic. The first season, amazing. It kind of rejuvenated Star Wars. The second season came around, and it was even better, in my opinion. And it just, I think, watching Rogue One, getting the chance to do this again, and then being able to talk about it with you gentlemen, because we never did this before. I don't even know if this was a channel yet at that point. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't think so. So I was gonna say I don't think I remember even talking to you two about it when we were working together or anything like that. But oh man, it is so cool to watch this movie again, especially with the added context now of Andor kind of backing it all up. And I gotta say, gentlemen, I enjoyed using my follow along material. I do love a good comic every now and again. But yeah, I've been looking forward to this. Amazing. So without further ado, Keith, sir, how are you doing?
Well, Douglas, I am tremendous. What a way, even though I was a little teary-eyed on Tuesday night with no new Andor episodes, getting to enjoy Rogue One again and having all new context for it just was a delight. A wonderful delight. And like Dave said, the post-credit scene for Rogue One, A New Hope, watched it many times, but I did watch it again. And, the tone's a little different, but that's okay. I see a lot of people complaining that, the tone in Andor and Rogue One was just not Star Wars. It's Star Wars. Not everything has to be exactly the same. Just like in Marvel, you can have a show that is a little lighter in tone, and then you can have Daredevil Born Again. They both fit. It's fine. People need to stop being so huffy about what is Star Wars. Doesn't matter if there's bricks, blue jeans, or more adult content. Star Wars is Star Wars. And without further ado, let's do a little retro review of Rogue One. We start off seeing research scientist Galen Erso. We've never heard that name before. And his family are hiding. And
wait a minute, Keith. Wait, you said this was a Star Wars movie, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I think you must have skipped past. What did the opening crawl say?
Was there an opening crawl?
No, there was not. This is the
there
first
wasn't
without an opening crawl. Yes,
but why would they not? Oh, that's right, because this movie is based on an opening crawl. I love that little tidbit. I love the fact that they took a little paragraph out of A New Hope's opening crawl and created an entire ass movie out of it.
And a just amazing movie too. God, you threw me off for a minute. I was like, wait, was there an opening crawl? I done forgot.
Oh no.
No, sir.
But we see Galen Erso on a planet with his family doing some farming when Orson Krennic, who you may know from Andor season 2, arrives with some death troopers and wants him to come back and complete work on the Imperial Star. Not the Death Star, we are renaming it because Death Star, I mean, you can't say that to people and be like, what's it do? Nothing.
It's the Hammer Star.
It is an Imperial battle station.
It's the no planet left behind star. That's what it is.
It certainly is. And he wants to take Galen to finish it. He doesn't really want to go. His kid is running, Jin, and his wife ends up getting killed because she wants to destroy the Imperials because she doesn't really want them to take her husband again. Unfortunately, he is taken. And then, leading right into what we saw at the end of Andor Season 2, we find Cassian. Oh, I wrote the name of that planet down.
No, the one
informant
where
on Kafini.
Yes. That was one of my favorite things about the end of season 2, how they were so meticulous about making sure that everything was where it needed to be. Like, I thought they did a pretty decent job at the end of Revenge of the Sith, but boy, Tony Gilroy was like, we need to make sure that we watch Andor taking off into the ship. We already know where he's going to go. I mean, if you've seen Rogue One, you know what he has to do here on this planet, but, I love that everything just merges together. You can stop the end of Rogue One, or you can stop the end of Andor Season 2 and move right into Rogue One.
Did you see it? I was looking for his name at the ending credits, and him and I didn't read the other guy, but Tony Gilroy and another guy did the story for the movie. Mm-hmm. So he knew all the ins and outs of what he had to do.
Oh, yeah.
And that made it even so much more enjoyable.
And I think it definitely made him want to write Andor. Like, he was like, God, there's such a story leading up to all of this that I could write. And thankfully, Star Wars allowed him to do so. But he runs into that his informant, finds out that a pilot defected from the Empire on oh my God, what's that? What the hell is that planet that Saw's on? Well, he goes, oh no,
on
Jeddah.
Yes.
Jeddah.
But we're not there yet. My notes are all messed up here. But they decide that they are going to free Jin from her Imperial labor camp on Wubini.
Now, again, going back to how much more context this adds, how this even makes, in my opinion, Andor Season 2, Andor as a series overall even better, how they both kind of work in unison. It's like poetry, it rhymes. How they all work in conjunction with each other. I love the fact that now, this is so important for Cassian because he's got to prove to the Alliance that this is a big deal, because previously we just saw he brought them. He said, Luthen just said, and I just saved, Clea. They've told me this is what's going on. There is a giant super weapon. The Empire is building it. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it can do. But, we have heard that it is terrible. That is what we need to stop. And the Alliance are kind of like, I don't know. I don't even know. Are you sure? Well, okay, maybe. And so now Cassian is like kind of in
sounds like you've been fed information from the ISP.
I mean, Luthen... Can we even trust that guy? I mean, come on.
You've been drinking the Kool-Aid.
For the rebellion. But yeah, so he's basically in a hurry. This movie now, with the added context, we now understand why he's trying to get all of this information, because he knows this is a big deal. He trusts these people that he's known for years that got him into the rebellion. And, then into Rogue One, we see the council. We'll get to this later on, but they're even worse than they were at the end of season 2, because they're just like, well, I mean, if there's a battle station, throw in the towel, right?
We can't.
So, man, I like Andor even more now. I love Cassian even more because now I know he's fighting. He's fighting not just for himself. He's fighting for the galaxy. He's fighting for the rebellion. He's trying to make all his years of fighting worth it.
You did mention in there that he's been doing this since he was 6. Have you hit that point in the story yet, Keith?
I mean,
no, I kind of interrupted him.
Yeah, and I when did Andor start? How old was
Remember,
he in
he
that?
was that his mom and dad kind of adopted him because I forget the planet he was
Right.
on.
Yeah, and so when it opens up, he's probably about 6. He's a kid, and he's living on that planet with it seems like a bunch of other kids.
And what's
They don't
awesome
really
about
go into detail about why it was just a bunch of tribal children running around. But then we see a ship come down, and we find out later on that they were like mining the planet in Andor season 1. So I think this must have taken place at the either the tail end of when the Republic was turning into the Empire or something like that.
see, that's what I'm thinking. It's beautiful when the guy who writes both things can
Hmm.
make it flow like that. Everything made sense. All the connections made sense to this, all the way back to the first show. Anyway,
Look,
I'm
Dave,
sorry.
as
Go
long as we don't
ahead.
got to use that cartoon crap.
And
I love you,
speaking of the
Tony, but some
cartoons,
of those
that's
cartoons are good.
Star Wars does it better than any other sort of universe out there. They have
Hmm.
shows that enhance other shows. We got the Clone
They do.
Wars, made Revenge of the Sith better. We've got Andor, makes Rogue One, makes A New Hope, makes the entire original trilogy better. They do that so well. There's no other like universe that does that. And the maybe the DCU is going to do that because Creature
Maybe.
Commandos was pretty good, and it seemed to lead in a few things in the DCU where it seems like all the animated projects for Marvel are Elseworlds or multiversal tales that don't really tie into much of anything. So I really hope they start using their television properties, not just animation but live action too, to tie in to things a lot better. Learn from Lucasfilm, guys. If they do something well, it's this.
But some of Lucasfilms. Come on now.
Yes, yes, true, true.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to start at the beginning of time with Star Wars, you'd have to start with the Acolyte. And when you did that, you'd be like, all right, am I going on to the next thing or not?
Well, soon we'll have
Maybe.
that original Jedi film from what's his name. So that'll be the 1st thing, and hopefully that's a little better than that show that you mentioned. I won't say the name again.
Yeah, I will lend it no more free advertising.
But Cassian goes, he frees Jin from this prison. She's taken back to Yavin 4, and they basically say, we need an in to Saw Gerrera, and we know you know him. Will you help us? And it's like, sure, why not?
Now, when they're freeing Jin, this is our first introduction in Rogue One to K2. Thankfully, we got to see him kick butt at the end of Andor, but being able watching him, free these prisoners says, Jin Urso, we're here to rescue you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so I don't know if you guys have watched Alan Tudyk when he's talking about what he decided how he wanted to portray K2, because they kind of left a lot of it up to him as primarily he's being a voice actor. He's doing the mocap as well, but he wanted to figure out, okay, how do I carry myself? How would he speak? What is he going to do? And he decided pretty early on, this needs to be, in every sense of the word, the anti C-3PO. And I think he pulls it off.
Oh, I love his dialogue. When were you trying to shoot me? Did you know that was me when you shot me? And things like that
Yeah.
are just great. The best was I was watching an interview with Alan where he was talking about being on the stilts and everything, and he does a Diego Luna impression, which is
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
spot
He's
on.
fun.
I'm like, oh my god, that I wish I could do impressions like that. Outside of Gilbert Godfrey, of course. But so Jin agrees to go try to set up a meeting with Saw because obviously he saved her after her mother was killed and the father was taken by Orson Krennic. So she agrees, and Jin, Cassian, and the K2 unit, which we were just talking about, travel to Jeddah, where the Empire is looting Kyber crystals at a tremendous rate. They are
Alarming. Alarming. rate.
alarming. Thank you. Much better.
Now, gentlemen, I spoke to the Emperor myself. He said this is just part of an energy project. Okay, I don't even know what you're
Oh.
freaking out about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And
Free free, it's like solar energy or windmill energy. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
oh,
Right. Right. You got it. It's we're creating free energy for the entire galaxy, and the this little religious sect. I think they call themselves the Jedi or something. Are they even real? Come on, a bunch of cultists. I think they can give up a couple of crystals for the better good of the entire galaxy.
I heard
All
they
hail the
turned. I heard they turned on the Republic at the end of the Clone Wars.
No, they didn't.
They did.
They did?
They tried to overthrow the government.
No.
They did.
Well, then we
Wow.
definitely deserve those crystals more than them.
Exactly. But they're using it. We find out here they're using it to power the Imperial Star, which
Oh. But that's just it's an exploratory space station, right?
well it goes and provides energy to planets.
Oh, good. Directly to their core,
Core.
it seems.
Yeah.
So, well, Jin and Cassian get caught
Anyway.
in a little scuffle between Saw's insurgents and the Empire. And
Well, hold up. You forgot to talk about the message that Jin watches with Saw.
she doesn't see that yet. She gets captured first. Remember, they get into that fight
That's.
in
I'm
the
sorry. I
city.
thought we were already. I jumped ahead. Oh no.
It's fine.
No,
It's
we
fine.
don't do that here. We
We
never do that here.
We never do that
once.
here.
But they get caught in a little scuffle between the Empire and Saw's insurgents, and Cassian ends up
right, yeah.
killing one of Saw's guys because he was going to cause a little trouble that he did not want. And he's seen, and a big hubbub is taken. They end up beating the Empire, but Jin and Cassian are taken prisoner and taken to our boy Saw's prison, where the pilot who defected is there in the prison. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we got the blind guy, the keeper of the wills guy, and then
The
his
guy
kind
from
of,
John Wick.
yeah, the guy from John Wick. Yep. Which I am with the Force. What is it? Oh man, I forgot what he says now.
I'm one with the Force.
Force.
The Force is with me.
That's right. I'm
Yeah.
with
Oh
the
my
Force,
God,
the
that was
Force is-
driving me crazy. I was like, please, I get it.
That's his.
Oh
That's his
man,
mantra.
every time somebody would utter the word hope, that's what drove me crazy. I did not realize how many times I said hope
But
in
Doug-
this movie.
That's what rebellions are built on.
Yeah, I just I
What
walked
did they
out of
give
that.
you?
Okay.
Oh, what did they give you? Hope. I was waiting for her to say a new hope. You know, it's just something like.
Oh, that would have
Yes,
been.
she said that.
Oh, that would have been so corny, but I would have loved it. I would have squealed in the theater. She said the thing.
That's episode 4. Oh my god. But they end up get taken to the jail where, the pilot is. All heck starts breaking loose, but before that happens, Saw meets with Jin because obviously they know each other. He is more machine than man at this point, seemingly. Probably has nothing to do with whatever he's huffing. But he ends up showing Jin the message from Galen that the pilot brought, where he explains he built a flaw in the Death Star, and all you need to do is find the plans on Scarif, and it's all laid out there, and they'll be able to stop this Imperial Star, which is seemingly impossible to do. So they're thinking they're going to head to Scarif. But before they do that, Doug's boy, oh my God, I just lost
Who?
his name. Tarkin. Grand Moff Tarkin decides
yeah.
that they need to run a test because he's looking to show up Krennic, like this doesn't work. And so they decide to test it out on Jedha. And not full power shot, but a mini power shot.
Is it
And
me or did he look like
love.
Lemony
go ahead.
Snicket?
a little bit.
Yeah.
I love the rivalry between them. The fact that they're arguing over who's the bestest boy that the Emperor loves the most. It's hilarious.
And of course, Tarkin's trying to steal all the thunder for this, especially if it works. Because you see, as soon as that thing, I don't think he thought it would work at all. And when they do just a, quarter power shot and it just blows up that city, he's like, I'll be taking control of the Death Star now. I'm the
Right.
Imperial Star now. And
I will inform the Emperor of the project that I spoke to him long ago. Only because his stupid clone program didn't quite work out, but that's for another movie.
that's something else. We'll talk about
A
that
good
later.
story for another time.
Oh boy.
And then as it's being destroyed, Saw just stays there and takes it like his battle is done. And you kind of get that a little bit more having seen Andor and all the stuff that he's been doing with this and the fighting and everything else. He almost knows that this is where his story ends, and now it's about finding a way to destroy the Imperial Star. So he kind of sits there, but Jin and Bodhi and Cassian flee the moon, and Grand Moff Tarkin congratulates Krennic before using Bodhi's defection as the pretext to take control of the Imperial Star. And Bodhi takes the group to Galen's Imperial Research Station on the planet Edu, where Cassian hesitates to kill Galen. He has Galen lined up. And I love, my favorite scene in that entire part is when he's getting his gun ready and he's going, okay, no, you can't go and stuff. And K2, they're like, why is he not doing it? He goes, he was putting together the sniper part of his rifle.
Right. Thanks, K2.
He's like a toddler when it's like, don't say certain things. And he just blurts out everything that comes to his mind. But he ends up not being...
The same thing did with Dedra. He had her in his sights and he didn't take the shot.
Yep.
He's that formed a tendency on the TV show.
I thought it was because he couldn't with Dedra. I think he would have taken the shot if he had actually gotten her, good in his sights. But it seemed like every time he tried to, there was an explosion or she had moved. Because I really do think when it came to her, I do think he would have taken the shot. But when it comes to Galen or so, I think he knows that he probably is better off alive and in the custody of the Alliance. That way somebody else can back up what Cassian has been saying since they don't have the hologram anymore.
And I think a lot of it had to do, I looked at that scene a little more differently since Andor. Because, he knows Galen Erso, Jeddah,
that's right.
Kyber crystals, thing. He okay, something with him. He helped get this information out. He is helping the Alliance, even though he's working here. He hesitates a little bit, not only because he knows Jin, but because he knows he's part of whatever happened, how this information got to Luthen, because that was the name that's used. And I really think with that added information, he couldn't pull the trigger because he believes he could be an asset.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that too. I think it was more of I hate to say this, I think it was less of a moral decision and really more of what is the better benefit to the rebellion?
Right. He wasn't doing it because he felt bad. Oh, I can't kill this guy. I feel bad. He's probably more useful to us alive.
Exactly. I think so too.
He's at that point where, he'll kill. We saw at the beginning of this. He'll kill somebody if they're not useful.
Exactly.
He's
that kind of. I think that tells us a lot about his character because when I went to go see Rogue One in theaters, obviously long before Andor was ever a thing, that tells you pretty much everything you need to know about this character and the point that they're at in the rebellion. This isn't a plucky little farm boy on a sand planet that just really wants to fly. This is a guy that has been a part of the rebellion for years. He has had to do dark and dirty things for the benefit of the rebellion, even if that means firing off a shot into one of his own, fellow rebels, I guess, an informant.
That's what I was going to say. He's become Luthen.
Very much so.
And we see too with the Alliance, they're bored. They're getting away from that because they don't need to be that way anymore because it's formed.
I believe
now.
They think so.
Yeah, they don't think so. But you're right. They're like, oh, we're above that. We're the Alliance. But you even hear in Luthen's speech when he's like, the fact that I had to adopt my enemy's methods. He knows he had to, but he's not happy that he had to do it. And Cassian knows he had to also. Unfortunately, that's something you have to do for a sunrise that you'll never enjoy. But Cassian did kind of get a sunrise. But no, we're not jumping to the end. We're not jumping to the end here.
I guess so. Yeah, but. Oh man, I think the only person in the entire Alliance that actually was in it for the fight, I still am not convinced that it was for the right reasons. I think this dude just really likes to fight. Was General Radis, because like the second he heard, wait a minute, I can blow some stuff up. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Do it. It's like, well, do you even know what we're doing? No, you had me at blow something up.
You had me that at their shields are down.
Right. Oh man.
But while there, the Alliance ends up sending a bomber fleet to this place to kind of blow it up. And unfortunately, Galen is wounded and dies after, Orson kind of brings everyone up. He knows Galen's the mole and he's going to kill all the scientists and everything. And Jin kind of sneaks up onto the platform. But in all of the craziness that goes on, Galen's killed. Cassian gets Jin off there and they end up stealing an Imperial shuttle thanks to their defected Imperial
Which
pilot.
works in their favor.
Exactly. It's nice how this all comes together. And they end up escaping back to Yavin 4, and Krennic is sent to Mustafar to talk to Lord Vader. And if there's one thing outside of the CGI of Tarkin and Leia that I didn't like, the line, "Don't choke on your ambitions."
Such a dad joke.
I was like, oh, come on, you're better than that, Vader. You didn't have to say
The other
that.
That
thing-
was too cheesy.
The other thing
So
that
much cheese.
I didn't like, and you know what? Throw your hate comments at me right now. I know this is gonna sound wrong. I actually don't like that they brought back actual James Earl Jones at his age to voice this, because you can hear in how he's voicing Vader for this movie that he's gotten older. He can't quite do it as well as he used to. If you listen to the way he's doing Vader's voice in this movie, and then you go and you watch A New Hope right after, it's like night and day. It's two different people almost, because I mean there's so many years apart. So
Doug,
I
we have a
don't think
comment.
it sounds as good.
We have a comment on Twitch from, not your status quo. How dare you?
But I do want to also mention one other thing that I love about this movie, and I contemplating putting this on the thumbnail, but I figured it might be too wordy. I feel like this movie, especially with that scene you were just talking about, how the bombers came in, I think this definitely puts the war in Star Wars, because we read the title crawl and we hear that there's a war going on, but it seems more like it seems less like a war until the very end, when we finally have, everybody going to attack the Death Star. But Rogue One reminds us this is a war. There is a fight. They have a rebel army. They've got ships. They've got weapons. And they have been attacking the Empire.
And it's nice, too, because all through Andor, you don't see any of that. This is them building that. So you don't see giant space battles and stuff. That's not how you build the Alliance. But now, this is kind of that transition into, okay, now we are an army. We have, an army. We can do this. And it's nice seeing, okay, send out those, bombers to Adu to bomb the place, because we know they're building the Death Star or whatever. And then we see later, obviously, send the fleet to Scarif. But, we'll get to that. It's nice seeing that transition, which they had to do, because obviously you get to Star Wars and the Rebel Alliance is.
Now, there was one other thing that they end up mentioning in some of the other material that came out around the same time as the movie. I'm assuming this must have been from like a cut scene that never made it into the actual film itself. But Mon Mothma explains why they don't call themselves the Republic or anything like that. They refer to themselves as the Rebel Alliance, or sometimes the Alliance to restore the Republic, but they never refer to themselves as the Republic. And the statement is because they felt that it would make them appear weak if they called themselves, like a government in exile. And they didn't want to give legitimacy to the Empire. So that was the reason why they insisted on referring to themselves as either the Alliance, the Rebel Alliance, or something like that. They wanted it to be known, we're not a government in exile. We're fighting this illegal government, the Empire, to restore what it should be.
Well, I wish they would have had that in there. That's kind
Yeah,
of nice.
I kind of wish it would have left it in too, but I get why they probably cut it. I haven't seen this deleted scene, but I assume it might have maybe drug out a bit too long or something like that.
It may not even have been filmed. They may have cut it from the script.
Oh, that could be too. Yeah.
You going to bed, buddy?
What's going on there, Sully?
I have something to say.
Oh, Doug said, "Hey."
Hello. I call it subscribing to not just ask quote rhymes a grug.
All right.
Thank you for that, young man. I'm sure that'll be pulled out by the AI for a short later.
I think I either need a translator or somebody's got to call security. I don't know what you said there.
But let's get back to Rogue One, because they end up escaping in that Imperial shuttle, go back to Yavin 4, and Jin is like, we got to go to Scarif, and we've got to steal these Death Star plans. Listen, if we get them, we can. And you're right, what Doug was saying earlier. The entire no, let's just give up.
Well,
we can't beat this.
You know, we should surrender, guys. And it's like, what? I was rewatching. I'm like, I don't remember them pansying out that quick.
I didn't
like,
either.
whoa, hey, you didn't tell us that we were going to have to be in a war in this Star War. Nobody
Yeah, I
told
thought we
me.
were just gonna talk this out, with everybody. I thought it was gonna be fine.
I made protest signs.
You
Wasn't
know,
that enough?
good guy Palps. He's not that bad of a guy. I think this has all been blown out of proportion. He seems decent. He's doing an energy program to help everybody. I heard
Helping
they
planets throughout the universe. They're gonna use so much less energy now.
so much more green energy they're using now. Are they using any?
Green
almost
energy,
like-
that's a good one.
It's almost like you're gonna remove all the energy from those planets. It's just crazy.
They're pure energy now. They're one with the. They're stardust.
Yes, they are. Whoa, that's her
Ooh,
name.
that's nice.
Nice.
After Jin and Cassian and other people are a little disgusted by the council, they decide to do it anyway.
Cowardice of the council.
Yes, which we saw quite a bit in Andor season 2. That Cassian did as he pleased. He didn't care.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you're not taking off. I got something to do. See ya.
Hey, you don't have a flight plan, mister.
Here's my flight plan.
There, buddy.
Right.
Got it right here.
Oh, good. We're breaking more protocol.
Yes. And while they're infiltrating Scarif, the Alliance hears about this thing and decides to send their entire, well, not their entire fleet, but a large majority of their fleet to
Good chunk of
attack
them.
Scarif while they're trying to steal the plans, which without that,
General Radis is just like, yo, man, you had me at let's get to our ship. He was already in his. Like, oh hey, General Radis, we're gonna go to Scarif. What? We are? Oh my gosh, well, how convenient. That's where I was going.
but it's funny because, talking about convenient things, so many things were convenient in this movie, but it didn't seem that way because of the good writing. The Imperial shuttle pilot defects. And they just happened to find an Imperial shuttle on Ode that they bring back to Yavin 4. And now we have to get into this Imperial base. Let's hope this Imperial shuttle hasn't been reported stolen yet. We gotta, and it just all worked out nice, but it didn't seem contrived or anything like that while watching it. It was just,
Hey, they were one with the Force.
and the Force is with me. And so, Jin and them are on the ground. I love that they had a plan for how to attack this. Hey, Jin, myself, and K2 are going to invade and find it in there. You guys have to do something out here, some type of diversion. Oh, we got a diversion for you. Don't worry about it. So they're sneaking into the building and getting over there in their Imperial suits. While, the rebels start moving very smartly, moving away from their ship and start rabble-rousing all over the place. And it's such a cool scene when Orson Krennic is talking in that thing, and you just see explosions going off in the background, and he's like, someone,
Well, what are you
what's
doing?
going on here?
Yeah.
Come on! It's like it's infuriating him that he has to tell them to do something about the clear explosions outside the window. Like
What's going on the beach?
Right?
What are you doing about it?
It's like, oh, that's how the Empire felt. Okay, they're all idiots. Got it.
But
Yeah,
you
but
got to
there's a
think,
lot
too,
of them.
Krennic was under a lot of stress because obviously Tarkin's taking the Death Star from him. Darth Vader is not saying, you did a great job with that. He's like, no more mistakes, blah, blah, blah. And he's upset. And he's like, here we go again. I'm surrounded by incompetent idiots. Explosions are going off, and they're like, oh, hey, look at the light show. What's going on there? And he's like, gotta go.
I read a theory, and I wanted to ask you two gentlemen, what you thought about this. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but the theory goes that the real reason Vader was so upset, first off, he's never liked the Death Star. He never thought that there was much to it. In fact, he kind of makes that clear in A New Hope. He says, all the power in your, giant machine pales in comparison to the power of the Force. And the theory goes that not only did he not like the Death Star project, but he was actually pissed that they attacked Jeddah. Because even though he doesn't consider himself a Jedi anymore, that's still an important site. He still holds, true to the Force, whether he's on the dark or the light side of the Force. It's still his deeply held faith,
I like it. I think that makes sense, because even though he was obviously turned to the dark side, it still was somewhere strong in the Force. Obviously, the kyber crystals were there, and yeah, I could see where he would not be happy with how that test went. That transfer of the green energy to Jeddah didn't work out as they thought.
Oh man! And then when Krennic goes, "It's beautiful,"
and
it's like, God.
Did I imagine them when they said, "We'll say it's a mining accident"?
No, you didn't.
Okay, good.
That is exactly the type of propaganda that the Empire would pull off. And I mean, it fits, especially, again, adding in the added context of what Andor Season 2 gave us when they were, telling us all their plans for what they're going to do to Gore, to the Gore and the, yeah. And, like, all their plans for, like, oh, yeah, we're going to say that, we're going to make it sound like they're dirty spider people. We're going to, put all this stuff on the news to make everybody turn against the planet. We're going to really push this whole, Gorman Front evil terrorist cell thing. And yes, this is something that the Empire is very good at doing. They love twisting the truth into something that fits their narrative. It's almost like
that's a real thing too.
Yeah, it's almost like
governments do that in the real
based
world.
on real life.
Dave.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but yeah,
no,
it happens.
Say this is not so.
I can't.
Dang it. Unbelievable. But yeah, and the thing is, hey, it's a mining accident. I don't think there were many eyewitnesses to what happened to refute that claim either.
Not alive.
Yeah, I was out on the outskirts of the city, and all of a sudden this giant laser beam hit and destroyed everything. Okay, sir, we're getting you back to your home. We're going to have Kayla push you up to your room.
Why does that subtitle say Grandpa scanning?
Oh, no.
But, I mean, such a great little plan. They're storming the castle. We got people outside, blowing things up to bring all the rebels, even Krennic said, get everyone out there, stop this now, leaving it open. Then, hey, there's an unauthorized thing at the vault, and he's like, with me. He's like, oh, this is not going the way I want it to go. And I really think that K2 sacrifice in that room was just so well done. Like, you guys get it, I got it out here, and he's blasting people, and he's going out, and he's holding them out, and then he goes, I'm shutting the door.
And then Jen, she gives him what he's wanted this entire movie. She gives him a gun, and he looks, and you can see the happiness in his glowing robot eyes. Jyn Erso, you continue to surprise me.
And then we see Doug's favorite general. Admiral Raddus. Blowing up two Star Destroyers to take out the shield generator. And that was great. They sent a little Corvette to just push on the one after
I'd
hitting
never
it with
heard
an
of those
EMP.
ships before. I think they must have been made for this movie. But that's a cool idea. Like, hey, if we can't get through their shields, we're just going to barge into them, make them crash into each other. And it's like, that's a good idea. Damn.
Well, you got to remember the rest of their ship was all powered down too. They couldn't fire at the ship that was coming towards them.
Yep.
That's right, because they had shot the proton torpedoes.
The EMP.
Yep. Yep.
And they need to get the what's it called? The communications back running, so the pilot knows, hey, we got to get this set up. You got to pull a switch at that front, and then we'll be able to communicate out.
Yeah, they have to literally attach a physical cable and flip a switch, and like the little IT guy in me was like, yes, that's right. You can't just make a droid turn a little dial. There has to be connection.
And
right.
Well, there is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but never mind about that. But yeah, and then obviously they need to pull the switch or the lever at the gate to get it going, and the Keeper of the Wills is the one. Just seeing him walking, like, I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me, while he's going up, and then he finally pulls it and ends up, a grenade ends up taking him out, and his buddy just goes, you know what? Time to do what I've wanted to do for the longest time, and he just goes just walking and blasting, taking shots and not caring. He knew his life was over, and he's like, I'm going to take out as many with me as I possibly can.
As soon as he saw that shuttle was destroyed, he's like, we're not getting out of here.
Yep.
Yep. I think that is the sort of that's the sign for the audience as well, because now we know, because Cassian says, like, just make sure you keep it running, because they think they've got hope, like, okay, we're gonna get the plans, we're gonna get the heck out of here.
They got what?
So the plans.
Hope.
No, hope.
Oh yeah, they've got hope. Yes, they think that they're going to get the plans, get the hell out of here. But yeah, as soon as that shuttle blows up, exactly what Keith just said, that's it. I think everybody realizes, well, this is it. This is life or death right here. And if we're going to go out, we're going to go out swinging.
And we see, once again, he keeps calling her Stardust throughout this movie. And it doesn't register until he's like, oh, there's a Project Stardust. And she's like, that's it.
That's it.
Let's get it.
How do you know? Because that's me.
Yeah, that's me. Mm-hmm. But they have to climb through the thing. Krennic comes through. He blasts Cassian once, but Jyn gets away. And she's up on that rooftop. She's got to realign the thing. TIE fighters are shooting at her, trying to get it. Damages the bridge. She's running back, and Krennic shows up. But thankfully, Cassian is there to put him down. And they end up sending this out to the
Thankfully,
fleet.
the guys down on the beach got the router connected, so that way they could transmit the Wi-Fi signal. And
when Cassian showed up and shot Krennic, it was like the opposite of the Last of Us thing, where in the 2 episodes ago when they tackled
when Jesse just showed up out of the blue.
Yeah, because we knew that Cassian wasn't dead. We knew he was just incapacitated somewhere. So that was good. That was the way to do it.
Yep, Krennic thought he was dead, but it obviously hurt him. And
hurt him a lot.
In one of the best scenes in the entire movie, Vader boards the ship that has the plans that was transmitted to. And he is just a darkened hall that you just see light up with red. And he is...
And all you hear is the... And then it's darkness until you see that red light. So,
it was...
Oh my gosh, it was so amazing.
It was what everyone wanted to see Darth Vader doing. Showing how powerful... He was just demolishing everyone in his path and just toying with them. Picking them up, slamming into the ceiling.
This was a Tuesday for him.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, there's nothing here that can even come close to damaging me. I'm just going to have fun. And it was great in the same way that when Luke Skywalker showed up in the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, seeing him using his powers and how powerful he was, that is just what we all needed. And just seeing that, it was still like... And then, obviously, a smaller ship breaks off from the big one to take these stolen plans to the Alliance.
How many times has that happened to Vader? Where he walks in and the ship just gets away right when he gets there.
And then it happens again in A New Hope, because he boards Leia's ship, and then the pod busts out with, oh, there's no life forms. Oh, let it go. It probably was a malfunction. And then You did what? How does this keep happening to me? But
Now, I ended up having to look up who was actually in the suit because this was before they had convinced Hayden Christensen to actually come back and, don the suit and be Vader again. So it was played by two guys, but the person specifically
at the
that
same
did the
time,
hallway scene. No, different. So there's one guy for his confrontation with Krennic, and then the guy that did the hallway scene was named Daniel Naprois. I don't know
Is
if
he a
I'm saying that
basketball
last name
player?
right, but what's that?
Is he a basketball player?
I don't know. Let me see. London, England, known for Robin Hood. No, he's just an actor.
Huh.
He's just an actor. But one of the things that I loved about his portrayal of this, and I think he either he was just given really good direction or he has just a really good understanding of how this character would move. But it seemed like some of the movement was a bit stiff. Like he knows that this character has robotic limbs. But then when he's using the Force, you can this is the dark side. So he opens his hand to push people up and then boom, creates a fist like he's crushing them. And I mean, just watching every bit of these movements, I went back and I rewatched it a couple of times because it's such a good scene. And I remember when I first saw this in theaters, the first thing I did, I came home and I'm like, I loved that so much. I got to see if anybody uploaded it to YouTube. And sure enough, thankfully, there was some copy from a theater in India or something that someone had uploaded. And I'm like, I don't care how crappy it looks. And that was, recorded on a handy cam. I just want to see Vader be a badass again. It was so much fun.
I remember seeing in the theaters when that red lightsaber came up. I was just like, yes, this is what we've waited for.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
then,
that's what I've always wanted to see out of the Luke character. And when we got that in the Mandalorian, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to see a whole movie about
The
that.
problem with that, and I hate to say it, but I think it's just that they waited too long. Because unfortunately, these actors age, and the only way that they would have been able to pull that off when they did the sequel movies, the only way they would have been able to, in my opinion, properly pull that off is if they had filmed the sequel films a decade or more earlier, or they recast the role.
Yeah.
now, we got a comment on Twitch from Not Your Status Quo again. How dare you? No, you're right, Doug.
Yeah.
I mean, I still would love to see, even if it's an animated series,
Sure.
see,
Oh, for sure. Yes.
during the Mandoverse time and stuff, what Luke and people are doing, and be able to see him gaining power, trying to find Jedi temples and get knowledge and do all that and just grow in power and see that. That would be tremendous. And
One of the things that they do mention in the sequel movies, and I always liked this. There was a couple of people that had kind of mentioned it. They talked about the legend of Luke Skywalker, the legend that is around him, as if these had been stories told and passed on from person to person. You can imagine that, I heard that Luke Skywalker destroyed the first Death Star. Oh my gosh, yeah, I heard he was by himself. Everyone else was gone, and he shot one torpedo into there. First shot hit it. Yeah, oh man, I heard that he took down Darth Vader. Oh man, that's crazy. And so, I can imagine, all
I
these
heard
stories
he
about what a
confronted
badass Luke is.
the Emperor and Darth Vader, one against the two
Well,
of them. and
he
came out
did it
alive.
without a lightsaber.
Yeah.
He did it with his bare hands. He punched the Emperor so hard he flew into the core of the Death Star.
He walked into a room with the Emperor and Darth Vader, and he's the one that walked out.
That's
all
right.
He
Dragging his spoils of war. He had the corpse of Vader, and then this badass, this mother effer, throws him on a fire in front of all these little teddy bear warriors for the world to see. That's right, Luke Skywalker.
And of course, he's the hero of the Lions. He's a good-hearted farm boy. He would never kill people and do whatever it took to build a rebellion. But he's the face they put on it because he's a good kid. Justice for Luthen. That's what we need. But to finish off Rogue One, Tarkin does show up with the Death Star. And seeing the Death Star in the sky just was such a cool shot. They had a poster for that for Rogue One back in the day. and it was such a great poster, and it was so cool kind of seeing it there. And then, of course, they're testing that energy transfer again to see, and unfortunately, Cassian and Jin are kind of stuck in a blast. And Cassian will never
You may
know that
fire
he has
when
a
ready.
Yep. Cassian will never know
they
the
took
little
that
boy.
directly from A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Directly. Oh, and like I texted you guys before. They did make a mention of Red 5 when they were in this last battle, and it was the same guy who asked for the status. That is the same guy in A New Hope who said everybody would call in right before Luke says it's Red 5. Thought that was tiny detail.
I think that's a cool little Easter egg. I do like
That's
that.
a nice touch.
Because it's like if you're a huge Star Wars fan, you know it. If you're not, you're kind of more of a casual Star Wars person, you may not catch that, but it's one of those like early MCU style Easter eggs where it's like a little thing kind of in the background, and if you catch it, that's cool. That's a bonus for you. But for everybody else, it's not going to like interrupt the movie, and it's not going to confuse anybody.
Yeah. It's just a little fun thing for everybody. Yeah.
It's like when Filoni puts himself as a X-wing pilot and something. It's cool to see. It's nice to see. Would you guys think it is time to rate Rogue One, a Star Wars story, in our
I've been
patented
waiting
not
for
your
this.
status quo retro review?
Yeah, because we've never given this movie a rating before.
We've never given a retro review before. So here we go.
Well, we kind of
Well,
have.
I
We've
think-
done older shows like some old anime, and
Yeah,
we didn't
did
call it
do,
retro reviews, but it kind of was.
Yeah, we did the road to the
Infinity War.
Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
you're right.
What did
Dave,
we-
would
what
you
did-
like to start us off?
Sure. What were we gonna say, Keith?
I was gonna say, what did we call the Terminator timeline to Judgment Day? Was
Oh
that-
yeah, Timeline to
Yes.
Judgment Day up.
Man, we
Yep,
clever.
and this will be the Rogue One Andor 2.1 or something. I don't know. But like I said before, like I said the other night, this is my top fourth favorite Star Wars movie. You can't get me not to put the top, the original three down as my first three, especially The Empire Strikes Back. But this is definitely the best Disney Star Wars movie. I was going to say property, but Andor the series is probably the best property
Mm-hmm.
since the early 80s. So, that being said, and all the stuff that we said, that this is how the show flowed right into it. It just enhanced the experience. Even like what you said, Keith, the other day, that he was wearing the same outfit at the end of Rogue One. I mean, at the end of Andor that he was in the beginning of Rogue One. And his character perfectly matched up from what he had built up on the series to what he did in the movie. It just enhanced it so much. And because of that, I might have given Rogue One by itself a 7.5 about 10 years ago when it came out. Was it 9 years old this year? And next year's the 10th year, I think.
Yeah, because it came out 2016, so it's
Yeah.
9 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait. And they're going to put Andor in the theaters along with it next year for part of the 10 years.
They should, but who knows?
We're going to that if it happens. So
We have to.
after seeing it all and adding it up, it's going to enhance the next movie as well. New Hope. So I'm going to give it an 8.5 this time around. I gave it a whole extra point.
Ooh, okay.
Who's next?
It does. We talked about how the Clone Wars enhanced Revenge of the Sith, especially that extra season. People bash Disney Star Wars, and there is some bad, don't get me wrong. But the way the Clone Wars Season 7, the stuff post Dave's Favorite Sisters, enhanced, I can't think of what they're called.
Martez.
Yeah, Martez. I know Dave's looking for them in live action, but no thanks. But the way it, enhanced this, Andor made this movie, I'm not going to say so much better because I really enjoyed it the first time I saw it. But I'm like Dave. I probably would have given it about an 8, 8.5 when I saw it the first time. I thought it was great. But so much more seemed to be better like Cassian's hesitation at shooting Galen. It's added with what we learned at the end of Andor season 2. Seeing like Saw Gerrera give up his life when we know he's been fighting this battle for as long as he's been fighting it. You know, he knew it was his time. It seemed almost a little out of place when I saw it the first time. Like, why is he not trying to escape? But knowing what we know now in Andor just made it better. Seeing like Krennic and Tarkin and Vader and stuff, all how that, you know, Palpatine has got them infighting to be his favorite or stuff, you know, to have power. That's how, you know, fascist regimes act, and we see it here. And it was so well done. And just the way this sort of bridged the gap from it being like a spy show and building a rebellion where we are not seeing giant space fights to seeing Star Wars as a war. It just worked perfectly. It was so great to watch. And it amazes me so much knowing if you just sat down and wrote out 24 episodes basically and planned it all out and took the time to think it all through, you can get just tremendous television. And it enhances other things, especially like Dave said earlier. You know, he wrote the screenplay for this with another guy, I can't remember his guy's name, based on a story from a comic book writer was one of them. I can't remember his name now, but
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
such cool stuff. And just the graphics and the fighting scenes, even the X-Wings flying low when they were going to bomb where Galen Erso was, looked phenomenal. The fight inside Scarif and the fight outside Scarif going on, and all the different plot points running together for that to transition into what we got, along with, you know, the Imperial Star showing up and blasting Scarif, thinking that was going to stop the plans from getting out. Just nothing but joy while I was watching this movie. So I'm going to give it a 9.4. I don't think I can give it what I gave Andor season 2 because that was top tier, but this is so good. It was a joy to watch again.
It really was a joy to watch. From the very opening, this movie, if I have to give it one compliment, it is beautiful. So many shots are just fantastic. The very first opening shot, it kind of instantly reminds you, and we don't have our text crawl, but that's because this is a Star Wars story. It's not part of any of the main trilogies. So, you know, everything was done with a purpose. And that first scene that we see, the rings around that planet that kind of invoke the shape of a Star Destroyer, as if it's like, it's reminding you this comes before A New Hope. So it's showing you they don't use, if you listen to the music in this film, they don't use any of the complete tracks, any of the complete Star Wars music. They're all snippets of it because, again, this is supposed to let you know, it's reminding you this is coming before Star Wars. And one of my favorite shots, and Keith kind of brought this up a little bit earlier, but when we've got the totally perfectly normal Imperial space station that is just trying to deliver energy to Jeddah, when we see it eclipsing their sun and it turns the sky dark, and then all we see is this green blast coming down to the planet. It is a horrible thing to have happened, but it's such a beautiful shot, and I have to agree with director Krennic when he says, it's beautiful. And I wouldn't doubt. It almost sounds like somebody who was like watching the movie after and just like, oh man, this just looks so... Tony, dude, this is so good. Art director, CGI artists, everybody who made so good looking. And I would say my only major complaint with the way that this looks is with the sort of weird 3D de-aging thing or whatever it was, the CGI Tarkin. But I will say, either they have fixed it since Rogue One, or it's just not as bad to me as it used to be. Because in certain lights, for instance, when he's on there, when they're actually testing the weapon on Jeddah, in the dark, it looks okay. It kind of looks like a normal person. But the minute you put any kind of light or he's standing next to another person, that's when, the illusion kind of goes away and it's you're in that uncanny valley and it's like, that's aged kind of bad. So
Yeah.
I hope that
Oh,
somebody at Disney, Lucasfilm, Industrial Lights of Magic, whatever. Oh, I want them to go back and fix this because we know that they're willing to do that with other Star Wars movies. They'll update some stuff. So hey, that's my invite. Fix it, please. You can do it, I'm sure. You've got the technology. But my only other complaint of this movie, phenomenal movie, is that it seemed like they knew that all of these people that they're introducing in this movie, or at least the vast majority of them, couldn't make it out because we don't see them in any of the other movies. So it seemed like they had to give them a mission or a job, and it was usually flip a switch, turn a dial, something like that. Once the people were done flipping their respective switch, they died. And I started noticing that because I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. Okay, so we got rid of forces with me, and I am one with the force. Okay, he flipped his switch. Great. Now we've got the other guy, the pilot. He's pulled his cable and he plugged it in. Now he's got to die, and the ship has to blow up. K2 has to make the lights pop up so they can find the Stardust file. Once he flips his switch, now he has to die. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of a weird theme. I mean, I get you must not know what to do with these people, so you're just like flip a switch and die, but it was a little weird. But other than that, this was such a good movie, and I have to agree with what you gentlemen said that with the added context of Andor now to build onto this, and I think Keith even called it like a good bridge, and I agree with you about that. This is such a good bridge. It bridges it so well. And the other thing that I think this did perfectly well and why it had to come before the Andor series. Think about it like this. What if all the way back then when this movie came out, what if the Andor series had preceded this? Do you think your average Star Wars fan would have been ready for Andor?
No.
A show which is primarily a political and war drama with no Jedi, no space wizards, no lightsabers, none of the goofy fun stuff that you normally find in Star Wars. I think it would have bombed horrifically, and I don't think it would have gotten a season 2, and I don't think Rogue One then would have been made. So the fact that they eased us in with Rogue One, they gave us a little bit of the Force. With Darth Vader, they gave us a lightsaber or two here and there. You had somebody mentioning the Force. We've got, talking about kyber crystals. They had just enough Star Wars identity in this movie to kind of ease people into this idea that, hey, we're really emphasizing the war in Star Wars. And that makes Andor even better. I will say, and I think Dave was with me on this, when they first told us that Andor was going to be a thing, I'm like, that's stupid. I don't want to see that. I have no interest in this show. But as soon as they showed us that first trailer, I was like, oh, bro, okay, I think I might change my mind. This looks good.
I remember your 180 when we were breaking down the
Oh,
trailer.
yeah. Because when they announced it, just like the initial announcement, oh, we're going to have a spy thriller and it's going to take place before Rogue One, and we're going to take this one character that didn't even really have a super big role in Rogue One. Because if you think about it, Rogue One, it is a movie mostly about Jyn Erso and the Alliance starring Cassian Andor. And so when they're like, and we're going to take this one character, I'm like, you're going to make a whole ass show about this guy? I'm like, that's not going to work.
you know what's cool about that though? On the
Huh.
Andor show, there were some episodes where Andor wasn't even on it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So,
That's true.
they that's not out of character for them to focus on another character.
Yeah. But it worked. It really worked. It worked even better than I ever would have imagined. But because there were a few things that just weren't my favorite, a few things that I think could have been done better, but I do understand for, at the time why they made the choices they made for this movie. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Still a very excellent movie. I have rewatched it so many times, and that Vader scene is so good. And it
Hey,
makes Andor even better.
what was your rating before you saw Andor on that movie?
I don't know, because I don't think I've ever thought about it, but initially, I'd say if I had to give it a rating directly out of the theater, I would have given it a 10 out of 10. Just because I was hyped. I was so hyped. and that Vader scene just, I forgot everything else in the movie. I'm just like, that was so cool. It was so badass. This is the best movie. No other Star Wars is ever going to top this. Nothing will ever be better than Rogue One.
Well, what about you, Keith? What was your rating before?
It was probably like
Andor?
Doug. I mean, I was blown away by it. I still remember my daughter, who's about to turn 17, went with me and my brother and the nephews and some other guys, and she fell asleep in the movie. And
Wait, she was about to turn 17?
yeah, July 1st.
Oh, you mean, I thought you meant, I'm like,
This
how old
year.
is
No,
your
no,
daughter?
this year. Now she's about to. She was. She was like
Wait
8.
a minute.
She was like 8 then, but she fell asleep and didn't see a lot of it. And we're like all outside just talking, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe the Darth Vader scene." But so much more of it was good. And honestly, I didn't take the people turning the dial and then dying as a thing. They were heroically completing their mission before they were killed, because there was a lot of other people who just died without, outside of maybe blowing something up to provide a distraction. They were killed too. I mean,
They plugged something in, they flipped, switched, or turned a dial.
They weren't one with the Force, and they weren't.
so now I want to.
Now you're gonna have to go back and rewatch it to prove me wrong.
I know, darn it, darn! I'm going to have to find the people that didn't. So there was a quote from Tony Gilroy. I don't know if you guys saw it today.
Okay.
It was making the rounds, where he was, I don't want to say bashing, but he was kind of bashing the MCU. He was like, yeah, they got this cube thing, Tesseract, whatever it is, that they're always trying to get or something. And of course,
so he didn't know what he was talking about.
he did not even remotely. It doesn't say. It sounds like he's seen maybe one. He saw Captain America: The First Avenger, and maybe that's it.
Okay.
But like Star Wars Theory and Den of Nerds were jumping all over it, like, see, he doesn't know what he's talking about. This stuff's great, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. He should have never wrote Star Wars. But I beg to differ, because he had said before he wrote the screenplay for Rogue One, he had never seen Star Wars before.
Yeah.
And he gave us some of the best Star Wars ever. So I am asking Kevin Feige, Dave's buddy, please let this man write an MCU show or a movie. Or do a movie with him and then have him do a prequel show about it prior.
Right.
He doesn't need to know about it. I mean...
And since he's good at space already, he can do Nova.
Oh, Annihilation.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I like it.
Oh, dang, yeah. Oh, if we got like a flashback scene showing Thanos taking out his planet.
Oh, man. I want to see that. Ever since we didn't get that in Infinity War, I've been begging to see that in some movie. Seeing Thanos go to, oh my god, and just destroy, I almost called it Zanzibar.
Xandar,
yes.
Xandar, yes.
I'm like, Xanadu? Why can't I think of this planet? But yeah, I've wanted to see that. And please do. Please give it to us at some point. I beg you. But you don't need to see Star Wars.
Give this guy more projects to work on.
You don't need to know everything about the MCU to write a good show. You just have to. And what he does, he had never seen Star Wars, but he obviously dug into it and understood what he needed to write.
He just understood the assignment.
Yep. So give it to him. Now, are you guys ready for some new, hot off the presses MCU news?
Heath, are you surprising us with some rumors?
This is not a
Are you
rumor.
about to run us down with some...
This is fact.
Whoa, it's not rumor mill down.
It has been confirmed by Marvel Studios. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Are you appearing in
I'll be
Wonder
right
Man?
back.
No, nothing to do with Wonder Man. Avengers Doomsday has officially been delayed to December 18th, 2026. And Avengers Secret Wars has officially been delayed to December 17th, 2027. So these movies are, I don't think, it's a surprise to anybody that they're getting pushed back. One thing,
Well, they got so much going on.
right? They, the special effects people just signed a new contract that guarantees them overtime and all the stuff they weren't getting. So this may be giving them a little more time to do their jobs without rushing them. I'm all for it. And once again, gives these movies time to get everything in place and do a good job. They don't need to be rushed.
Percolate.
Yes, percolate. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think we've had one.
But this also means we will not getting Doomsday Part 1 and Part 2.
We don't know that yet. All they did was delay the movies they announced, because we still may be getting a third Avengers movie in this thing, and they just haven't announced it yet. And that's supposedly coming with SDCC. But the other thing that's happening now is Spider-Man Brand New Day is coming out before Doomsday, because it is still scheduled July of 2026. So with Doomsday getting pushed back 7 months to December, Spider-Man Brand New Day will come out before it. And we are also getting post Fantastic Four, no movie for almost a year, which I don't think we've
until
had.
Spider-Man?
Till Spider-Man, yeah.
You know what? In all honesty, I'm fine with that. Take your time. Make it good, because if you end up rushing it and it turns out to be another bomb, and it turns out that we go to the theater and we're less than impressed, we come out and we're like, it was a movie. I mean, I'm getting tired of saying that. I'm getting tired of coming out of the theater and saying, well, it was technically a movie. Or, Dave, it was okay. It was the okayest thing I've ever seen. I'm tired of that, man. Like, Marvel used to be top of the line, top tier. You had to fight to get into the theater. It was packed. And if you didn't get your ticket right away, you were out. There was which movie was it that we had to sit in the front row?
It was Endgame.
Was it Endgame? Okay. Yeah. Where are those days? Bring that back to us, because, I mean, my gosh, guys, if you have to take your time to make it right, take your time, please. Do not rush this.
Yep, we'll be sitting there waiting. And yeah, you're right. If they have another, especially this one, think how much money they're spending on Doomsday, bringing Robert Downey Jr. back. 35 actors they've already announced being in this movie. This is going to cost a lot. If this loses $200 million because it bombs at the box office, MCU's probably dead.
Yeah, they're either going to have to start selling things off again, or Disney's going to decide, you know what, let's reboot the whole thing, start fresh.
Yep. And this does seem like possibly what they did with Daredevil Born Again, where they had that stuff and they said, stop, you know what? We're redoing all of this. And obviously they kept a little bit, and maybe this is too, they're looking at it like, you know what?
Oh, I am so glad that they fixed it.
We could do it the way you want to do it, or it can be good. What do you think?
Yes, Dave, exactly. Oh, man.
I can agree with all your decisions, but then we'd both be wrong.
Right. I have to wonder, you said that now this is going to make the Spider-Man movie take place before Doomsday, where
it comes
originally
out.
It was going to come out
Doomsday.
after?
Yes. Originally, Doomsday was coming out May of 2026, and then
now,
Spider-Man was coming out July.
Do you think that what are they calling the Spider-Man movie again?
Brand New Day.
Brand New Day. Do you think Brand New Day was referencing things that happened in Doomsday? Do you think they're now going to have to go back and do some reshoots to Brand New Day to make it fit in this new timeline?
I don't think it started shooting yet, or did it?
Oh, all right. Okay, I wasn't sure.
But even if they did, look at the Guardians of the Galaxy and where it landed in that series, and it was out of, I think the second one came out like 4 movies later, and they were supposed to have it back to back.
But what?
Also, the other thing that that they had mentioned was the original idea for the third movie ended up having to get scrapped because of the decisions made in Endgame. I know James Gunn said, yeah, I didn't have any intention on killing off the original Gamora, so that kind of, threw a wrench into my gears. I had to kind of come up with something else.
Yep.
He did a good job scrambling.
Mm-hmm.
And this could open the door to being pre-Doomsday, to getting a street-level Spider-Man that's not a Battle World movie or something.
I would love that.
That would be
what
great.
What we've been asking for since before they announced No Way Home.
Yep.
Back when they showed those couple of like little Easter egg videos and everything where they showed the what was it, the caution or the construction things, and everybody was like trying to dig out. Oh, I wonder what this means. Oh, is that Stark Tower, or I mean, is that the Fantastic Four Tower, or is that going to be Oscorp? And everybody's trying to figure out what's going to happen. And and even us, we were sitting there at our old studio, and we're talking about how. Oh, this is definitely going to be a more street level Spider-Man because if they know it's good, they're probably going to bring back Kingpin, or we heard rumors that Daredevil's going to be in it. So, oh yeah, obviously they're going to do what everybody's been asked for, and then it's like, oh no, it's just like a giant multiverse movie, and it was good, but it wasn't what we all thought it was going to be. And Sony, in all of their wisdom, seemed to have it in their heads that they needed to do another multiverse story because the other one did so well. I hope they have thought better of that now, and I do hope that Brand New Day is not just another multiverse story, and I'm hoping that they do listen to the fans and give us a more grounded street-level Spider-Man. For the love
Let
of
Wilson
God.
Fisk be in a movie. Let him in the movie.
Oh, that'd be great. I think D'Onofrio would be amazing in a. Well, I mean, he's been in movies before, but I think he'd be amazing as Kingpin in a movie.
It would make box office bonanza. Oh my God, it would be awesome. We need it. We need it.
We do. We need. And MCU, we need a win from that, man.
I'm really hoping the Fantastic Four is that win. I do think we are in for a treat in July. I think Superman is going to be tremendous, and it looks like Fantastic Four is going to be really good. So,
oh yeah, I think Superman will be tremendous, and this new DC universe I think is going to be just amazing. I trust James Gunn. I was very impressed. I was very impressed with his take on the Suicide Squad. I was very impressed with season 1 of Peacemaker, and I really, really liked Creature Commandos. So if we keep that momentum up, shoot, DC could overtake the MCU.
Oh, easily.
Which would be weird.
Imagine.
I know.
Wow. There's no way. I mean, if that flops, that's big trouble.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't see it flopping, but
I don't think it will.
Obviously, because of James Gunn, but
But we know all the Snyder bots are still going to hate it.
Yeah,
they'll see it and say they hate it, but they'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh man,
it was good.
I wish Man of Steel was this good."
Oh,
Stay away from the tornado.
Oh, that's like PTSD for me now. I swear. No, Clark, don't be a superhero. Don't save people. You got to keep your secret identity. That's way more important. Man.
I think you missed the point there, Zach. It went right over your head.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe if you would have watched this show that got Superman right. Do you have any suggestions for Zack Snyder, Dave?
You could probably watch Smallville, although he did say Smallville was one of his favorite shows. And the only thing I saw that he said about that, the only thing in the movie that was there was a garage they were at, and it was the Sullivan Garage, and that was Chloe's last name. And I was like, wow. And that, everything else, I was just like, I don't see how this relates to Smallville at all.
It actually terrible. Was my son's garage, Sullivan's. Had nothing to do with Chloe.
And he was standing there with a wrench and everything like that. Yeah.
And he was like, he's like, not your status quo, skibbity toilet. Sigma.
How he did
Giga
this
Chad.
before he was born? How did he do all this before he was born? He's just that good.
He's talented, I tell you.
Do you two remember, Dave? Do you remember what we used to have? I think it was like a tagline for the YouTube channel, but it was we had a line that we had on there for like what we thought at the time about DC versus Marvel. Do you guys remember what that was?
Oh yeah, DC does better animation, worse live action, and Marvel does better live action and worse animated.
Yeah, that didn't age well.
Well, it aged well because at the time it was true. I mean, we were getting movies from DC that were just not great. Mm-hmm. And we were getting tremendous MCU movies, and that is kind of flip-flopped now a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But we're still getting some good MCU. I really do hope that this creative overhaul and them saying, listen, we don't need to have 4 movies out a year. We don't need to have, 6 live-action television shows. pull it back, quality over quantity, and they will get back to where they were. I hope that's the route they're going, instead of Bob Chapek when he was running Disney was like, we need content from you constantly.
Crank it out.
Yeah.
Get the content machine going. You know what? Call in Harrison. Harrison, you still have the Indiana Jones whip? Yeah. I'm not doing another movie. Don't care. Bring the whip in. We've got some artists that aren't producing.
I mean, yeah, you look at it. Didn't it start that year? I think it was the COVID year, 2020, when it was WandaVision, and then immediately after WandaVision was Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had them just going like that. That's what they wanted to do, right? Have a new show every 2 months.
Yeah, they thought having tons of content on Disney Plus would just get tons of subscribers, and people were like, "Yeah, this ain't great." Yeah, because it was WandaVision, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki were like almost all in order on Disney Plus.
Boom, boom, boom.
And
yeah.
Now, to be fair, WandaVision was pretty good. It really kept us wanting to watch. It gave us our water cooler moments, and we were theorizing the heck out of it. So WandaVision did what it was supposed to do.
I would say WandaVision was borderline great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't think it had the greatest ending.
No.
But it was pretty darn good for what it was at the time, and for the first MCU show, it was good. It was really good. But then following it up with Falcon and the Winter Soldier was not quite as good. It had its good moments, and it gave us the best dance scene ever.
True. And a lot of it had to do with them with COVID and
yes,
rewrites,
and that's what I was going to say. That's where some of the cracks started appearing. We started realizing, they just wanted to get it out. They didn't give it time to fix the story issues that were present. They're like, whatever, just scrap, this outbreak thing, and we're going to, leave some of these shots in, but we're not going to explain, what these barrels have or anything like that. And then again, they didn't quite get the landing, because like at the end of it, you've just got, our new Captain America, like, hey, do better. Okay, bye. And it's like, oh, okay, so I'm noticing a theme now. You're not really sticking the landing. All right. Loki was different. Loki was good. I almost feel like Loki was made by a whole different team. And that one, it was pretty much good throughout, and I think it stuck the landing.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
The entire series stuck the landing for sure.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Oh, season 2 was so good. But yeah, they've had a lot more. You're right, Dave. I'd say ever since the pandemic, it was kind of, we were starting to see some of the cracks appear, and they were definitely just trying to churn things out. And it was kind of, we could watch it slowly going downhill. And it's like, okay, that was really good. And then it's like, oh, that wasn't quite as good. And then it's like, it still wasn't quite as good. And it's like, oh, what the heck's going on? And then Thor Love and Thunder comes out. It's like, whoa, what the hell are you guys doing here?
Yeah. By the time they got to Moon Knight, which I really wanted
to like that, because I loved the Moon Knight comics. Oh, man, I was really getting into them. I was reading up on them and everything. I ended up going to the Motor City Comic Con, and I bought a bunch of Moon Knight comics, some of the old back issues and everything. And I was like just really feeling it. I was into this character. And then, that also seemed a little disjointed. Like, they had kind of an idea, but they didn't give it enough time to put it together properly.
And honestly, I think the main problem with Moon Knight was they wanted to not focus on him being a street level hero.
Yeah.
They wanted to do
this big fantastical
we have gods
kaiju god battle thing.
Yeah. And they were, and I don't know this for sure, but I think they were like, oh, we've done enough street level stuff. We got to do something different to make it. And they really missed the point on Moon Knight. Mm-hmm. It would have been so much better seeing Mark Spector just battling crime in the city, having his multi-personality disorder. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to go full in on that first season. You could hint at it, show little things about it, and then build on it later. But having like two giant kaiju gods fighting at the end of Moon Knight, I was like, this is not what we needed for this show. And there were some great, I mean, Oscar Isaac was great in it. It just overall wasn't.
And for all of my Avatar heads out there, the first thought that popped into my head when I was watching that, I'm like, oh, this is Legend of Korra Season 2 again. cool. Which was also, sorry, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, but also a giant stupid kaiju battle because they didn't know how to end the season. They'd kind of written themselves into like, what do we do? Kaijus!
Yay! And you know that's the thing.
Juve Ex Machina.
It'll be
Yeah, right.
interesting to see because the rest of the stuff after Fantastic Four is all pretty much.
Are we starting to see it climb back
Well,
up?
we may not because this is kind of like Ironheart was filmed a couple years
Oh,
ago.
yeah. Oh, Ironheart did not look good.
And then we get Eyes of Wakanda, which is an animated show. We get.
all right.
There was one more thing before Wonder Man, and I can't remember what it
Wonder
was.
Man?
No, there was one more thing before Wonder Man. Oh, Marvel Zombies.
Oh, yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I do not care.
I don't either.
I know that everybody said that was like their favorite episode of What If.
It was a great episode of What If, but I don't know if I need to see a bunch
fine.
more of it.
Yeah, I don't need to see a whole season of that.
It'd be like a Bad Batch. We never know.
True. Or an Andor.
Could be, yeah. True. Okay, yeah. Because I've been wrong before.
And, you know, then obviously it'll peak with Wonder Man in December, you know, getting that. And then, you know, we'll get back to Daredevil Born Again Season 2 in 20. And I love that they are now talking about Daredevil being a yearly type show.
A show, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And they're
Yes,
talking more in the lines of instead of what they've been doing where, you know, you get a WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, and then you get Moon Knight, and then you get Miss Marvel, then you get She-Hulk, and then you get, you know, Secret Invasion. No, we don't want to talk about that. Then you get Loki again,
Oh, God.
and then you get Echo. They're going to start having characters have multiple seasons
Good.
because
Do it.
it would work better. You know, they threw, I think the worst decision they made for Phase 2 was wanting to introduce so many heroes and not develop them well enough. Like, they didn't have 1,600 characters in Phase 1 and 2. They had the core Avengers and a few others here and there, so they had time to build on it. But they were, like, just trying to bring as many heroes into the MCU as they possibly could. And they just didn't do the best job on it.
They should have just taken their time, like pick the next 4 or 5 heroes and then work on them in the next phase. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of like, all right, let's bring everybody at the same time, and this is gonna be so great. And it don't matter. We just have the name out there, so it doesn't even matter if they're true to their character. We're just gonna have them out there so that people can get excited about it.
And now, I just thought of something reading through all of the shows. I really wish they did not do Secret Invasion already. I wish they could get Tony
Special
Gilroy.
investigation.
Yeah, Special Investigation. I wish they could get Tony Gilroy to write Secret
He
Invasion for
would
Marvel.
have done it right. I mean, just imagine like if he would have cranked the political intrigue and the war stuff and like done the spy stuff and oh man, just imagine like I think then I would have actually cared when they told me, is this a person or is it a scroll? I think I would have been like, I don't know, man. I kind of want to know now. But
we
you know,
wouldn't have known. Because in Special
Right?
Investigation,
Yeah,
it was
'cause-
like,
'cause
this
he would have
guy's a
been
scroll.
no
Yes,
good.
we all
It's like-
guessed it
it's like-
weeks ago.
Oh, and
Yeah.
like imagine like him, like if Tony Gilroy had something to do with it, he would have definitely made you like double guess on. Oh shit! I don't even know now. And we'd have an hour-long theory video about like, I'm so lost, I have no idea. And then it's like going to be what a twist in the end that well actually, and it's oh man, he would do a phenomenal job. Oh, can we just like go back in time, erase that show, and then let somebody else do it right?
You know what would be awesome is if they could weave all these stories in at the same time. If you don't concentrate on, say, like the Simon Kinberg way, which is to cram it all into one movie, if you spread all the stories out into, you know, little bits and pieces of an overall story, and then you tell an individual story on top of that, when you sprinkle something in to the rest of the show, and it moves slowly, and then the payoff is so much better.
Yes.
100%.
And Keith was kind of hinting at this earlier when he was talking about how, they put out WandaVision, then they're going to put out Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then Logan. The original idea that they had was these were not good. They were treating them like movies on TV, on a streaming service, and they weren't treating them like a TV show. So the idea of, they're going to get, something might get a second season, I don't think it ever crossed any of their heads. That was never the intent. It was just supposed to be like a filler before you go see the next movie. And WandaVision, it's not a season one, it is a series that exists in between the movies and things like that. But now that they've developed this entire separate production studio, they now have Marvel Television to separate these series from the movies. That was the smartest move they could have made. And I'm glad that they finally realized, these are TV shows. We need to treat them like that. Because there are so many things where you can tell that they were in a bit of a silo. They weren't communicating with the other directors and writers and anything like that. And there was definitely, clearly, there was no communication between the teams that were working on the Marvels and Special Investigation, because the two did not quite, the stories clearly did not match up. And it's like, you can hand wave it and be like, maybe this happened at this time, but no, I'm sorry. That was just poor planning and poor release.
Yep. But hopefully it's all back in track. Hopefully them turning the faucet down a little bit. As much as I would love, 4 MCU movies, a bunch of shows, only if they're going to do them good. You don't want you don't want just a bunch of content that where you watch it, you're like, okay, whatever. Darn it.
That's how I felt about the Man of Steel. Like when it came out, I was dying for a Superman movie, and then when it came out, all my friends that were dying for Superman movies, they loved it just because it was Superman, not because
filled in that gap.
Good story. Yeah, not because it was a good story or if it had good special effects. They were just happy to have Superman, and I was just like, that's not good enough. It's like Keith always says. It's like pooping in your mouth, calling it ice cream.
Calling it a sundae.
A sundae, sorry. Yeah. Got that extra, the extra corn and chocolate, the chocolate drip stuff.
Dang.
And with that note, who are we rating?
Let's see who's available.
Okay.
Oh, A-Tray's on.
Oh, nice. For those of you that are wondering, while we're looking for somebody that we're going to raid, for anybody out there wondering, what are these nerds talking about? Did dementia kick in early? No. If you are watching us on Twitch, you probably already know what raiding means. It means we're taking all of you fine, wonderful people that are watching us live on Twitch, and we're going to gather you up, put you in a wagon. We're going to go on the Twitch Oregon Trail, and we're going to go and dump you off on somebody else's channel. It's our way of showing love.
Do I have dysentery?
Everybody has dysentery. I'm sorry. So we're going to be just crapping our way to another Twitch channel, dump us off, and yeah, it's our way of showing the love to our friends here on Twitch. Now, there is kind of, sort of a way to do that on YouTube, but it's dumb and it's complicated, and YouTube doesn't make it easy because I don't think they ever intended for live streams, and they don't quite know how to make it function right. So in lieu of that, since we're not raiding anybody on YouTube or going to any other channel on YouTube, if you're watching us there, please make sure that you like, subscribe, show us some love, share it with your friends, and please comment down below. We would love to hear from you. And you know what? Tell us, what do you think about the MCU? Are you excited for the future? And what did you think of Rogue One? Tell us, is it even better now after Andor? Let us know in the comments down below. And if we are ready to raid, then we'll see you right here next time on Not Your Status Quo. Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.